Yeah.
What it do, T Squad? It's your girl Keisha, aka Color Me Pynk, and I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade, Married at First Sight, Season 10, Episode 16 review. I drop videos Monday through Sunday. Everything that I say is for entertainment purposes only and not to be taken seriously or literally, meaning my jokes. So if that works for you, then let's get into tonight's review. This week, we're going to start off with Nicole and Chris. So they go and have a couples massage with one another, and she reveals that she is surely falling for him. I mean, you can tell through her body language and the way that she speaks that she is falling for him. Now with him, I think that he likes her, but I don't think that he's in love with her or anything like that yet. I think that he's still quite nervous about it. I even might think for him that it might be too good to be true because he's so used to women stomping all over him. But I think that she really does, genuinely have feelings for him. So then she takes him on a date in her neighborhood to this place that she had been wanting to go to, but she didn't want to go to it until she found somebody special to take there. And it was a place where they do absence and stuff like that. So, she brings up the whole love conversation with him, and he was like, he doesn't want to be pressured to say it. He wants to say it when it's real for him. And I could tell in that moment that she was kind of a little bit let down with the fact that he's not falling for her yet because she's falling for him. She even said in her confessional that she wants him to say it first. She would prefer if he was the one to say it first. So I think that it kind of like hurt her feelings a little bit that he wasn't where she's at, but it's only been a few weeks. Like, I would look at you like you're literally nuts if you're telling me you fallen in love with me after a few weeks. Like, bro, let's just simmer it down, okay? Let's simmer down. We then see them at the crib, and they're sitting down on the couch, and they're having a conversation, and Chris brings up how he's had to deal with some body issues. And so she automatically just assumes and thinks that, he's having those issues right now, and she doesn't want him to think that she's not attracted to him, and she's telling him that she doesn't want him to change anything about himself because she likes him the way that he is. But he was really bringing that topic up to buffer what he was about to say to her. And so he says, I was asked a question about appearance when it came to you. And he was like, and I said, beautiful smile, beautiful face and eyes, but a little thicker than I normally go for, but not in a bad way. And the producers do show a flashback to that moment when he had a confessional when they were on their honeymoon, where he did say, in fact, that she was a little thicker than he normally go for, but it wasn't in a bad way. So Nicole is off put by this. She even says that it's a little jarring to hear that from somebody that, she's in a relationship with, because she suffers from body dysmorphia. She struggled with her weight, and she just asked that he not call her thick. She was like, that's something that I call myself, but I don't want you to call me that. She was like, you can use any other word to describe me but that. And I'm like, I'm not a person with body dysmorphia. So I can't honestly say whether or not, thick is a bad word for her. Obviously, it's a trigger word for her coming from somebody else. I think, she's shaped nicely. You know what I'm saying? She got hips, and thighs or whatever, but that's just her body type. And she even said to him, like, if and when we have children, I'm going to get bigger. And he was like, well, that's just your body. That's just your body or whatever. And I don't think that he said exactly what she really wanted to hear. I'm happy that he did tell her, though. I really, truly am, because it would have been worse if she would have saw him say that on camera and then felt some type of way. And I think that he told her because he genuinely does care for her and wants to see them go the distance. And out of all the couples right now, I feel like they have the strongest chance of making it to the end. Next up, we have Eris and Jasmine. When the episode begins, he has COVID, and Jasmine is working a lot, but she, is helping him as much as she can. He then gets over COVID and suggests that they go bathe the dog together. Like, he's trying to show her that, and he could at least deal with this one dog. You know, it's a big step for him because he's not a dog person. And she really appreciated the fact that he at least tried. So then we have a scene with them at the crib, and they're doing the questionnaire that the pastor and the therapist or whatever sent over to them. And the topic is about love. And so Eris was like, he, of course, has never been in love, but the one time he did come close to being in love with somebody, they end up breaking up, and that hurt was just too much for him to deal with. So he was like, anytime I felt those feelings coming after that, I was out of there and back where I was comfortable, which was being in the beginning stages of the relationship. He likes that part, but when it starts to get too deep, he runs from it because of that past hurt that he experienced with that one woman that he almost fell in love with. And I'm like, bruh, like, how old are we? How old are we? You can't go through life fearing pain or rejection, you know what I'm saying, and not allowing yourself to feel love for somebody. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Everything can't be surface level and just about having relations with somebody. Like, that's an empty life to live. You're going to wake up one day and be in your 70s and alone. And ain't nobody going to be trying to sit on that at the age of 70. Okay. On another day, we see them at the crib, and he decides that he wants to play a game of Never Have I Ever, so they can get to know more about each other in a sexual manner. And so he's asking all these questions. Have you ever kissed a girl? She's like, no. Have you ever cheated in a relationship? She's like, no. And he's like, oh, you've lived a very boring life. You supposed to do all this before you got married. And she was like, I'm boring because I've never cheated on somebody. Like, make it make sense. Like, she's, you know, more subdued when it comes to that era. And you would think with somebody who claims to be so sexual that he would enjoy having a woman that's so green that he could explore with and teach these things to. Duh. But he's such an idiot that he doesn't even realize the pleasure that he could get out of teaching her and, you know, exposing her to different, you know, sexual things. Like, come on, bro. So she finds out during the game that he's had an orgy or 2 or 3 or 4, and she's just not impressed with the topic. Like, she said to him already that she needs more of an emotional connection with him, and this is not what she was looking for at all. We then go to Shaq and Kirsten. So apparently he's been working a lot at his job, and she's telling a girlfriend or somebody of hers that, you know, she can't wait till his schedule loosens up because she wants to spend more time with him, which is understandable. They need all the time that they can get to know one another. They're given the same questionnaire thing from the counselors or whatever. And she says that spending time will make her fall in love with him. That's what she needs, quality time to get herself there. Shaq says that he just needs time, period. And Kirsten is like, spending time with each other? He was like, no, that's what you said. And in his confessional, he was like, he doesn't want to get miserable. He wants to go to the gym and be with his family and friends. Like, he needs that separate time away from her for himself. And I get that. I'm a loner. I understand exactly what he's saying. I like to be by myself. I like to do my own thing. But in the situation that you all are in, where you literally only have, 5 more weeks to get to know each other and realize or figure out if you want to stay married to this person, right about now, you need to be dedicating as much time to getting to know her as possible. So I kind of disagreed with where he was coming from. You know what I'm saying? Like, every moment and second counts in the type of position that you all are in. They end up having Shaq's mentees come over. He mentors a group of young guys that he's really close to, and she has a really good time with the young men. They seem to take to her, and she seems to take to them. But he says in his confessional that he hopes she understands this is his career and there's going to be a lot of compromising in the future. He also reveals during their conversation with the boys that he had a huge job offer out of state, and he said no, so it wouldn't be a problem in his new marriage. And so he could focus on Kirsten. Now, Kirsten in her confession was like, I just don't want you to resent me about not taking the position, because yes, she loves Texas. That's where her family is, but she doesn't want him to regret not taking the job because of her. But he did make her aware of this when the offer was made, but he said that he turned it down. That's huge. That really is huge. You know what I'm saying? And I can honestly see that being an issue moving forward, that he did not take that job. I can see him blaming their relationship, or if their relationship fails and they don't make it after the 5 weeks, and I gave up this job for you and this marriage and it don't turn out, child. child. That's a lot to deal with, honey, because I'd be mad myself. So Shaquille comes home from work one day to a surprise from Kirsten that she's planned a spa night for them at the crib. He's, very pleased and seems like he's excited by it. They do some little mani-pedi type times and do some mask or whatever. And as they're sitting there enjoying themselves, she asks that he tell her one thing about him that she doesn't know. And he opens up and was like, I have insecurity issues about who I am and what I want in life because I didn't play sports. I was insecure about the scar on my forehead, about me going bald, and this, that, and the third. And I kind of felt like with that first line, when he said, I have insecurities about who I am and what I want in life because I didn't play sports, that kind of made me feel like he was alluding to his sexuality. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Because it seems like, he was raised by women. He probably was raised in the church. And he probably did question himself at one point. Do I think that he is gay? No, I don't. But I think that he had conflicting issues with that growing up in the environment that he grew up in, trying to figure out, am I? Probably because of the people that he was around or maybe exposed to. She was like, I think you're a handsome man and it looks good on you, talking about his hair. And then he asked her to tell him something that he doesn't know about her. And she was like, I can be really quiet and like just be to myself. And he was like, well, I already know that about you. Give me something else. And she was like, well, it's a lot you don't know about me. And he was like, well, tell me, like what? And she was like, I don't know. And he was like, what you mean you don't know? You just said there's a lot about you that I don't know. And now you can't tell me. And he gets frustrated. And he was like, this is the issue. Like, you refuse to open up with me. He was like, I want to know how I can break down those walls. How can I get you to trust me? And that is huge. Like, I'm spilling all of my tea to you, opening up, and then you can't even do the same for me. And I don't know what's holding her back either, because to be honest with you, it does seem to me like she's growing to have feelings for him. So I'm not really understanding what's holding her back. I don't know if it's fear of it not working in the end or her exposing who she is too fast, but she has to open up if she wants this to work, because he's getting frustrated with her, and her holding back. And so she could tell that he was bothered. Like, her eyes kept on darting back and forth. Like, she looked like she had gotten a little nervous that she kind of like set him off. And she was like, thanks for being patient with me. And he just kind of sat there like, okay, girl, like he was over it and over her in that moment. And I'm like, girl, you better tread carefully. You're going to lose that man if you ain't lost him already. And lastly, we go to Gina and Clint. And this was actually a good episode for Gina and Clint. I think that they really made some progress. So we first see Clint on the phone with his mom talking about everything. And he asks her, since she is, self-employed, had her own business, did her career or does her career affect her relationships? And she was like, well, yes, in the beginning, it really did, because, you're 100% focused on your business and getting it off the ground and making it grow. She was like, but once you get settled, no, for me right now, it isn't an issue. So I felt like that kind of opened his eyes to what Gina is going through right about now. So she's trying to grow and nurture this business as well as this marriage. And you have to put 100% of yourself into both. And I don't think that she literally learned how to balance the two at that point. So we then see him visit her salon and meet, her workers and everything. It's a very small space. I thought it was going to be way bigger than what it was, the way she been talking. And he has a good time there, gets along with the girls, and then we see them back at the crib and they do the whole questionnaire thing. And with their question, they're asked to hold hands while they talk, which I think is a good thing for them and a great exercise. So they're asked to go deeper with one another. So their question was to share with each other a difficult point in their life and how they got over it. So Gina was like, my childhood was difficult. My parents were divorced at a young age. We moved around a lot and everything. And Clint says that, he got a girl pregnant and she had a miscarriage, and it really tore him up because he was excited about becoming a father. And I think that really opened both of their eyes to the struggles that they'd both gone through in life and how they didn't let it affect where they could go and where they are now. So Clint ends up taking Gina on one of his boats, and she says that she had a great time. It was so much fun. It was relaxing. And I could tell in that moment, in that scene, that they really crossed some type of line with each other in a good way, where it seemed like they'd grown a little closer. If not romantically, at least as friends. It seems like she's becoming more comfortable with him. And I really honestly believe if she fully let down her guard and allowed him to be more affectionate towards her in a physical touch type of way, that it would allow both of them to let their guard down and be more relaxed. And I think that they could really work. I really think that they could work if they allowed themselves to go there with each other in a physical manner. I think that that's the step that they need to grow closer. If they just kissed or something, you know what I'm saying? I think that could really work, because I was really starting to see a connection build between them in this episode. And then at the end of the episode, we see Gina take him to a professional bull riding event, which looks so much fun. I don't know if they ever come here to St. Louis, but I want to go. They look like they had a blast. We saw her putting his cowboy hat on. They were hooting and hollering, drinking with one another. They, after that, went bar hopping, and they really seemed to have a good time with one another. So like I said, if they don't work out romantically, I could see them being very, very good friends. But I see a spark there. I really do. If they would allow themselves to relax into it and just let it flow and see what happens, it could really be something. I have hope for them. Don't know if they're going to end up together, but I got hope. Out of all the couples, I have hope for them. I think that Nicole and Chris will work. But then again, I forgot about, in the trailer, it showed us Dominique and Clint kissing. So maybe they won't work. Okay. Kirsten and Shaquille, they could probably work, but I think they're just way too different. Like when they went plant shopping, it exposed that they are like night and day. So I just don't really see them working. I just really don't. Jasmine and Eris, of course, they're not working at all. Total opposites. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about tonight's episode down below in the comment section. To be honest with you, I'm going to give tonight's episode a D-. It was so boring. So boring. Everything that they teased in last week's trailer was smoke and mirrors. They made it seem way more dramatic, like this episode was gonna be, so drama filled, and it wasn't. It was honestly a snooze fest. They really could have kept this week's episode. But y'all let me know what y'all thought. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. I love you all, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.